Hi crafty friends, Irene here with Artemis Made One. I am sharing a card today I made for Craft Roulette episode 179. I am doing just a real quick voiceover here so you can see I used my stitched hill border. There's my little sloth buddy helping me with the scrapbook.com mint tape. Holding down my dies here, I'm just cutting out some pattern paper just really quickly here. And it cuts a stitch on both sides, so it's very handy. I can use both sides if I want. I cut 3 different pieces and they're all just kind of different hill shapes basically. And then you can see I'm kind of lining them up just to see if I can get a really interesting kind of slope feel to it. This is the stamp set that I used. I have not the coordinating dies that don't have them, but I do have the die cutouts for my Cricut machine. So here I am lining up my stamp. I would just want to use that little guy there. And I am using VersaFine Onyx Black to get him all stamped out. Notice I did it on the cover of my Waffle Flower grip mat because I'm trying to see if I can line it up right. I didn't the first time, so I repositioned, tried again, and got it the second time. And now you'll see he stamps right in the middle there, so it's kind of perfect. Look at that. Excellent. So here I'm putting on some clear embossing powder. I do a couple of quick coats. I'm just lining all that up, getting him nice and covered, tapping off some excess, and then I'm using my heat tool to get him all nice and embossed. Love embossing. It's embossing magic. Then I'm going to use a little bit of the Tombow removable adhesive just to hold him down so that I can use my tri-blend from Spectrum Noir, and I'm going to get him colored. These are alcohol markers, and the reason I like the Spectrum Noir tri-blends is because I am not a top-notch colorist. I don't really know about shading and light sources and things like that, so this is me just giving it my best shot. But these markers are great because you get 3 colors or 3 shades of the same color in one barrel. So unlike the Copics that you can refill, these aren't refillable, but for somebody who just colors on and off periodically, these are really great because they kind of do the heavy lifting for you. They take the guesswork out of it basically. So here you can see I'm coloring my little guy. And I'm trying to get some shading in there, trying to get a little bit of dimension. Not sure how I did, but I gave it a shot. I'm using a few different colors that I believe are going to match the pattern paper that I used. Some vintage blues, some dull greens. Then I'm going to put a little bit of pink for his tongue because he is belting out a song right there. He also looks like he could be going to the dentist, but that's not what's happening here, I promise. So here I'm kind of playing with my pattern paper again, trying to see where would he look best against that paper background. And I love using my hill dies like this because I feel like I get another use out of them. So right here, I'm just kind of marking off on the back of my pattern paper where I should put my glue. It just kind of helps me get a good alignment so that I am not really wasting too much time trying to figure out where to place things. Now, if you see here, I feel that the heart layer is too wide. So I'm actually going to take my little mini guillotine trimmer here and just trim off part of it. So that I liked much better because he still gets to pop off the top there a little bit. So speaking of popping off at the top, I'm going to put some foam tape behind his head and only behind his head. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue at his feet. And the reason I'm doing that is because I just want to tuck his feet behind that bottom leaf layer and then have his head popped up. So he's kind of just leaning forward a little bit and just singing his little heart out. So you notice I have that little flap open, and that's so that I can tuck his feet in behind there because one of the Craft Roulette parameters for this week was under leaf. So his little feetsies are tucked under the leaf. See how I did that? Yeah, I was pretty proud of that. So here I am putting on my 3rd layer of pattern paper, and you can see because he's got that kind of foam tape underneath him, he's actually going to pop off that page a little bit. There I'm just cutting off the excess and cutting him down to size, and I'm going to use the notes that are included within this stamp set just to see if I can, sorry about noises, just to see if I can get a kind of a music aesthetic, if you will, coming off of him, just to give you the impression that he is singing. So I like the way I set those up, and I'm going to use that same Onyx Black ink again, and I'm going to emboss it again so I can make sure that I'm not going to smudge it. That's really why I did that, because I was afraid I was going to put my big hand on it and just put a big black smudge across it. Although I consider smudges authenticity marks. You don't get those in factory-made stuff. You only get them when it's the real thing. So here I put a little bit of glue also behind the foam tape just to help him pop up a little bit more. You're going to see me do that here as well. I'm using my Altenew 1/2 inch foam tape, and I like to just kind of pop up the main card base, or not the base, the card front, excuse me. And so I've got a little dimension there, and I've got a little dimension on his head. And that way it just kind of gives it a little bit of oomph on the card itself. So you can see there I put it on that, I believe it's a slate gray card base. I might be mistaken on that. It's from Simon Says Stamp. Now, I decided that even though he's a caroler from the Caroling Squad set, I actually want him to sing Happy Birthday at the top of his lungs. So that is going to be what he is belting out. So I decided to take these little sentiments, they're sub-sentiments from Waffle Flower, and I'm just going to kind of spread them out in between the different music notes. So the idea here was that it's coming, from his mouth, from his lungs, and these are words that he's singing out into the universe to a friend of his, let's say. I'm assuming a friend of his. So I popped all those up as well so that they also have a little bit of dimension. And they basically match the dimension that is his head, essentially. So here we go. I've got all my parameters. I've got 3 panels of pattern paper. Then I've got the farmhouse colors of blues, tans, whites, greens, things like that. I've got his little feetsies under the leaf. We're good there. And he's belting out a tune. There you go. There you have it. That is my Craft Roulette episode 179 card. I highly recommend you visit Craft Roulette's YouTube channel and check it out almost every Friday around 6:10-ish p.m. on Central Standard Time. Highly recommend. It's a fabulous show and your creativity will just explode. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for making it through this video with me. I hope that this helped. I hope that it got you a little bit inspired and gave you something to smile about. Thank you so much, and I wish you the absolute best day. Take care. Bye.